I would summarize the bodywork experience by the change that it's made in the way my family eats and gets out and gets active.
To set a positive and welcoming tone in my BodyWorks classes, I always welcome them by name when they come in, help them find their name tag and a place where they're going to feel comfortable sitting. Then I talk to them for a little while, each one-on-one, introduce myself, and I find it's very important that we all introduce ourselves during the first 20 minutes of the class.
I do an activity called Hopes and Fears, and so I have all the participants respond and tell me what their hope is and come into this class and what their fear is. And I think that helps parents to kind of get the idea that they're not alone. A lot of them have the same hopes and the same fears, and I also share mine. And then I revisit that list in the very last class and say, were we successful?
We generally use email to communicate in between the sessions, so the parents will get a follow-up email about what happened at the last session and a reminder about what their homework is for the next session, and that's been very effective.
Each week I also call one family and have just a general conversation about what their week is like, how they're implementing what they're learning in BodyWorks.
Sometimes as we presented the sessions, a question would come up about, well, how do I get more food, or how do I keep my family eating healthy but on a tight budget, or with the amount of dollars that I had. So we had to become very resourceful with our following sessions to provide some additional resources for some of those families. I remember in our first session that kind of took me aback because I hadn't thought about that ahead of time.
Cultural diversity is a great thing because it really opens our eyes to how different people do things differently. So someone coming from another culture may have a certain way of preparing some dish that we have never thought of before. And so I think that cultural diversity is a plus and really adds to the group.
The way that I relate to participants who might be culturally different is really finding out what is different for them, whether it's their meal plans, the types of foods that they prefer, and then working together at what appeals to them, not what appeals to myself or someone else.
In having participants connect with each other from different backgrounds, one of the great tools is to talk about emotional eating. In the second week, we talk about emotional eating, and everyone seems to really understand that, and it makes us all the same. The other thing is the food demonstration. They all love the food demonstration, and when you get people out of their seats, back with the blender, back with the food processor, everyone has a better time, and they learn to talk to each other, and it becomes much more natural.
When we started session one, we buddied them up with somebody as accountability partners for the 10-week session, and it wasn't just accountability in their behaviors, but also accountability for attendance. So we always found that that worked great to make sure that during the sessions it was peaceful and harmonious. So in all of our sessions, we use parents as coordinators for our little activity breaks, and so we've always pulled in the more reserved parents to help lead those group activities by session 3 or 4, and that helps them come out of their shell and feel a little bit more comfortable and more accepted by the group by the time we get into sessions 6, 7, 8, and by the end of the group, they're very comfortable with being able to express themselves.
A great way to include the more withdrawn participant is to really ask questions to the group, and I really try and acknowledge everybody for their answer, so there's a really inviting atmosphere for everybody to be included.
I think the most exciting moment that we had was when we had a 10-year-old girl who had never eaten vegetables, her mom had had a hard time with getting her to eat vegetables, actually begin to ask her mom to give her vegetables as her snacks, take vegetables to go to school in her backpack, and every time she came to one of our programs, she always had vegetables on her plate. And as a registered dietitian, that's one of the greatest things you can do, is to get little kids excited around eating fruits and vegetables.
The best thing about BodyWorks is running into families in the community, and you hear stories about the changes that they've made, easy changes, like not drinking soda, drinking water instead, cutting back on junk food, and now on the weekends, instead of sitting around or going to a movie, they're out doing activities. And I love hearing that, and the spontaneity of how joyful they are about the changes that they've made is so wonderful, and it makes it all worthwhile.
For more information about BodyWorks, please visit womenshealth.gov/bodyworks, or you can contact the BodyWorks Help Desk at bodyworks@hhs.gov.